Yeah, welcome to the grid as the Senior 165s walk down. Charles Demergen, the president of Tillotson. You were just up in commentary with us. We had to drag you down to the grid now for Senior
the sunshine's here.
Tell us the last race of the event. Yeah, I imagine this almost a slightly emotional moment. It's been such a long event, a long process. How's it all been for you?
It's been great. You know, we've got it's just super exciting to see everybody here from all over the world, all over the country, all over the countries here in Europe and the U.S. and every hemisphere we have here. And the people seem to love it, and we love it that the people love it. Let's give a shout out, folks.
So let's give us some support, please, for our Senior 165 drivers. Guys on the roof, let's give some support. Give us a hand. Let's give them a round of applause. They have worked very, very hard for this. Charles, we got obviously a driver who knows how to win here. We got Team USA on the front here as well, and then two British drivers who may be working together as well. What's your thoughts ahead of this?
Well, again, same as the last race. This is a critical race. The Great Britain and the UK and the US and Ireland, they're all in the running here. What happens among these guys is going to be critical.
Well, we will see you on the podium. We'll let you go and get a good viewing spot.
Good, thank you. See you all.
Thank you. Okay, let's go and speak to some drivers. Andreas Matisse, who knows how to do well around here. Fantastic driving all weekend. Superb job. You've put in such a good performance that you didn't even really need to go and win the superheat in the end. So you must have a lot of confidence now coming into this.
Yeah, I think we won last year the race here, and now we have the good position for the superheat. We can on fourth place in the finish, and we are from pole. And I think the race is long, and we'll see what we can do.
Every Nations Cup race is completely different, even if you won last year, I imagine.
Yeah, it's completely different. This year is the competition very high, and we have more drivers in this class, and it's very fun.
Good stuff. Good luck. Let's keep going. We'll speak to Casey Cook next on the front row. I think that's a lot of support for you.
Yeah.
And Team USA, we're going really strong as a nation.
Yeah, I think we've had some solid finishes in the last couple finals. So hopefully get some clean racing up front. I think all these guys have been working pretty well together, and I think we got a level head on our shoulders. So hopefully we can make it to the end and have a nice little battle.
We're going to do it for Team USA?
I hope so.
Oh, well, I think those guys think you are as well. Good luck, man. Good luck. Let's go to Chris Alcock next. Good to be interviewing Chris again. It's been a few years since I've done this. So, mate, fantastic job. Fantastic job. Your first time doing an event like this, international level, inside row 2 start. Yeah, that is probably what you would have picked at the start of the week.
Maybe one further forward.
Maybe one, but yeah, inside row 2 is always good as well.
I'm building up. I qualified P5, slowly picked forward, so 4th, now 3rd. I wouldn't want to be one of those two with me coming.
So this is it, all out now. You've learnt a lot. Now it's time to lead them.
I've learned an awful lot. I've never been here before, so yeah, let's get on, have a nice clean race. May the best man win.
Yeah. The balaclava is literally going on as you say that as well. Anwar Beryl Smith is coming. I thought he was coming over to do something to your engine for a second there. Anwar coming over to give some assistance to help Chris get started. Good country. We'll let Anwar get his fired up, and Chris is going to help his get fired up as well. And we'll go in and speak to Anwar. Anwar, I mean, you worked really well with Chris in that superheat to get yourself now in a really good position. I know you had a really tough first heat, but you've recovered really well since.
Yep, it's been good. It's been a tough weekend. We're struggling with a few issues since the damage in that first heat, but we're just pushing through. And you know, now it's the big one, and me and Chris are going to push to try and get to the front. You know, it's no longer about not taking chances. We're going to go for the win, both of us, and try and get 1-2.
I think after that incident, if you said I'd be on the outside of row 2, you probably would have taken that.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, you can't be too ungrateful for that. That's for sure. And look, certainly when after that race, I was looking at it thinking probably weekend's over. We managed to salvage something out of it, but let's not throw that away now. We're going to try and have a good one.
Good luck. Best of luck. Well done to Anwar. We got look at this. We got a lot of support coming up on the side. Marchini is there. We got a lot of support. Christian, if you spin round on the sidelines here for Team Ireland, we are all cheering for. So why don't we find an Irish driver with that and see if we've got any down here. I don't know if we've got any. Yeah, we'll go and speak to this man here, because we've got a lot of support up there on the sidelines for Team Ireland for you. So anything you want to say?
You won't beat the Irish.
Yeah, we're going to do it.
Thank you.
Good stuff. Best of luck. I think we're going to have to clear the grid. I'm going to walk to you. I'm going to hand it to Simon. Best of luck to all the drivers.
Well, thank you very much for that, Chris. Our final pre-race interview of the day and of the Nations Cup 2023. Big thank you to Chris for all of his efforts in interviewing all of the drivers this weekend. Well, perhaps not all of them, but many, many drivers have had the chance to give us their thoughts ahead of their races, and we are very, very grateful indeed to the drivers who have obliged. And as we get underway in but a few moments' time, this will be the final 14 laps of competition around this Cartodromo Lucas Guerrero here in Valencia, and the final 14 laps of competition of the Nations Cup itself. We are just about to get underway. They all set off on their formation laps. The sun will be beating into their eyes as they drive down the start-finish straight, and with a fantastic view. On most days, they will be glad to have their tinted visors on as the day gradually comes to an end. All of these drivers warming up their tyres for one last time, as I'm joined again by Chris in the commentary box. I was joined a few moments ago by Noah Rossa, our new T4 Senior Nations Cup champion. Now, he'll be back up in a few minutes, I hope, to have a chat with us about everything that went on in that race and his emotions post-race. And then we will be presenting him with his trophy that he has earned at 5 p.m. local time. 1700 is our podium presentations, where we will be presenting the T4 Nations Cup itself to the winning nation, whoever they may be, and also our individual category winners and our timed quali pole position holders, sponsored by Maxis. The Maxis Pole Position Award, been awarded since last year, and a lovely little trophy it is as well. As I'm getting some looks from Josh East down by the start-finish line. Hello, Josh. How are you
doing?
Yeah, Josh is good. Josh is in the shade. Yeah, we're having a good time. There's two of us up here. Yes.
Up and down.
Yeah, up and down, up and down. Yeah, in, out, left, right, forwards, back. Same as the drone, really. You know, bit of everything. Bit of everything. Anyways, should we talk about the race? Yes, fantastic. So as they come round to make their way into the tram lines, it is going to be Andreas Matisse who will lead us away in front of Casey Cook and Chris Alcock. Anwar Beryl-Smith and Julien Granvaux line up next in front of Yanni Fokkin and Jan Zastra, and we go racing now, and it's a good start off pole. It is a good start for Andreas Matisse. It's also a good start for Casey Cook, who's going to be pipped by Chris Alcock down into turn number 1, slotting into 3rd position. There's a little bit of argy-bargy. Someone has ridden up onto the back of the... Oh, and there's carnage. There is chaos down at turn number 1. There's 4 carts off. 5 carts, in fact, have gone off.
We've got Anwar Beryl-Smith off. Marquini is off. Carl Lawrence is off. Peter Janssen is off. Zachary Walvin. All of those drivers off through the first sector, unfortunately, and there were more delayed. Yanni Fokkin was delayed, as was Zachary Walvin, who I think we already mentioned. So several drivers delayed. We have not seen a couple of drivers come through, unfortunately. So the end of the race and the Nations Cup for some, but not for our lead 3 who make their way down the straight. Andreas Matisse still running strong. Chris Alcock in 2nd. Casey Cook is in 3rd place. They now have a gap over the rest of the field and a chance to break away, and we're going to go full course yellow. Full course yellow. So this a chance now to bunch up the field and just to organise the, and I think this is because Anwar Beryl-Smith is being attended to on the side of the circuit. He was one of the drivers involved in that incident. I can see that he is outside of his cart, but he is on the ground and he is being attended to by the medical team out on the circuit. Anwar Beryl-Smith currently being seen to by the medical team, so hopefully this yellow flag doesn't turn red. That is why we are under full course yellow. All drivers will now be forced to reduce speed and form up behind Andreas Matisse, who effectively becomes a safety cart, and Anwar Beryl-Smith will be being attended to. I believe that is the driver who is on the ground, so a real shame for him, and a real shame for all the drivers whose races have come to an end early. Gonzalo, our race director, in constant contact as he's up on the gantry with the guys up over there, and we will wait to see. But in the meantime, we'll go through our order, shall we? It's Matisse, Alcock, Casey Cook third, and then Pignataro are 5 places to 4th. Then Granvo, Rolfing has come up 10 places to 6th place. Venska is 7th, up 5. Zastro is 8th. Then it's Yangels in 9th, up 5. And then we have the Mexican next, Anguiano, who is in P10. He's up 7. We have plenty of drivers making big ground because of that, Simon. But we now have a red flag. Red flag is out. We will stop the race. There is confirmation of that on your screen. We do need more medical attention to Anwar Beryl-Smith. This will be to get an ambulance out onto the circuit. So not what we want to see at all, but the red flag is now being called, so further medical attention can go the way of Anwar Beryl-Smith, who is on the ground just on the exit of turn 2. The red flag is now out, and the drivers make their way down towards the start-finish line, which is where they will form up. Ross from Race Direction is currently out there, one of the RGMMC staff who will line them up on the grid. There is Christian just getting them to a slow speed, and then Ross will form them up on that inside row and bring them to the start-finish line, and there they are. And the 487 of Andreas Matisse. Now, I'm not too sure if we will start single file as they are, if this will be a full restart. If it is, then we will grid them up, minus the drivers that need to be seen to. But whilst we get more information on the situation, to remind you, we are under a red flag condition for an incident on the opening lap of the Senior 165 final. We have Anwar Beryl-Smith needing medical attention on the circuit. So whilst we get some more information about what is going on in terms of the race itself and how we're going to restart, we're going to take a very short break here at Valencia. Appears that all is okay there. We did see Anwar Beryl-Smith in some discomfort. Red flag had been thrown. The ambulance did get out, but Anwar Beryl-Smith was up on his feet, so hopefully injuries there not too severe. But a real shame, as many drivers were caught up in that incident. Fokin was caught out in that, as was Anwar Beryl-Smith, who did have to jump in the ambulance, unfortunately, and we wish him all the best and hope his injuries are not too severe. Alessandro Marchini also caught up, likewise P.T. Hansen as well. Marchini, a real shame, as he was starting very well. We're getting ready to go for a restart then. It seems they'll stay in single file for this, and Andreas Matisse will lead us on to lap number 5 of the race when we go green, and this is the order they will start in. Simon, I'll hand to you.
Yes, so it will be...
well, I would say that, but yeah, yes, there we go. Matisse, Matisse will lead us ahead of Chris Alcock and Casey Cook.
Yes, and then it will be Phil Pignataro, who had a good start there, gaining 5 positions up into position number 4, and then comes Julien Granvaux. Then Asbjorn Rolfing, who gained 10 positions in such a short space of time, given the chaos that was happening there at turn 1. Then comes Christoph Venska, then Jan Zastrau, and Esteban Yanguas, Gil Anguiano and Harris Gladkins. And Vas Peters lines up in 12th in front of Stefan Osman and Gert Lapskelns. David Bowden, starts in 15th in front of, we are about to go racing, and we go green now, and it is Andreas Matisse who leads us down into turn 1. It is a single file restart, so Matisse leads Alcock, who leads Cook, and Pignataro down into turn 1. Makes it a lot easier as commentators when they go single file into the first corner as they make their way round through the turn 3 chicane. Nice and calm, and immediately Andreas Matisse, he's used to being in this position of being in first. He's going to be looking to settle into a rhythm as quickly as he can, but he has got Chris Alcock sitting behind him, who is going to be thinking, what can I do here? And restarting from lap number 3 out of 14 laps, rather than taking a full restart and just resetting everything in its entirety. We are green flag racing now, and things are set to hot up very, very quickly indeed as Andreas Matisse leads the pack round. No action really developing at this stage in the race. Everyone's still just trying to warm up their tyres more than anything else. The heat of the day is beginning to subside, which is good news for these drivers, as we've got Andreas Matisse being pushed like mad by Chris Alcock in second, and then KC Cook in third. A little bit of contact there between Alcock and Cook at the fringes of the podium positions. Not a whole lot of action emerging presently. Everyone just staying in that slipstream train. We've seen this all weekend with the 165s. 12 kart trains at times, just using each other's slipstream, bump drafting to the high heavens. And as a 14-lap affair gets underway again, we can expect even more of that to come.
Yep, Chris Alcock there with a little bit of assistance through turn 1, and has now have a little bit of a gap to chase down to Matisse, but he's closed that down now through the middle sector of the lap. He's settling into this race nicely. Matisse there showing his experience out front, covering off any challenge down that back straight. Here they come through turn 9. We are fully back underway and racing in this Senior 165 class. Last opportunity to go and win that Nations Cup as they make their way down the start-finish straight. Teammates will be cheering from the sidelines as Matisse leads us into the first 2 corners on lap number 6. Chris Alcock, can he do it? Good friends with Anwar Beryl-Smith, and after Anwar involved in that red flag incident, he'll no doubt want to go out and win this one for him as he comes into turn number 4 now. Coming in towards turn number 5, he's got KC Cook behind. He received a lot of support out there on the grid, and so he should. He's driven absolutely superb this weekend for Team USA. They are fighting for the Nations Cup as well. What a beautiful trophy they're fighting for as well. Who's going to take it? Here they come. Out of turn 8, Pignataro, who's made a fantastic start to the race. One of the other Americans is 4th in queue, 6th for the lead. Granvaux, the French driver, next in P5. Venska is next in 6th. He is the fastest driver on track, so it's 6 for the lead, and the fastest driver is the last of them in the queue, and I think he's about to go into 5th, and does, coming across the start-finish line.
And with Phil Pignataro and I believe that is Christoph Venska side by side into turn 1. No change for the lead just yet as everyone makes their way across the line. And with Christoph Venska setting very fast times, as is Jan Zastrow, his fellow German, who were following each other, bump drafting, as we see Andreas Matisse coming under threat perhaps from Chris Alcock behind, who was having a look up the inside but wasn't able to make anything of it at this stage in the race. It would not be a great idea to go battling because there is a huge train of karts behind that will gladly snap up any mistakes that are made. It is line astern, it is as you were through turn number 7 and 8. As we watch all of them flowing through, let's see which battles are emerging and who has gained the most and lost the most. Well, I can tell you that Juan Pablo Glover has gained 12 positions from where he started. He's currently sitting in 19th position, the lead Guatemalan out of 3 Guatemalans on the grid. He is leading all of them. He's sandwiched between 2 Irishmen of Peter McBride and also Aaron Doyle, who have also been showing well this weekend. As we see side by side is the 417 machine. That is Stefan Osman, I believe Hill Anguiano, as everyone makes their way once again down the start-finish straight, roaring past the commentary box, making their way through Sector 1 and Sector 2. The T4 Seniors, 165s and Masters all seem to have pretty much nailed this middle section of corners that is so difficult to master as there's a little bit of action going on the fringes of the top 10, but no changes for position, Chris.
Well, I think we're going to see a change for fourth, maybe, because Venska is quickest on track. He took fifth a couple of laps ago coming onto the start-finish line, and there's no need for him to follow around Julien Granvaux. I think he's going to be the one to watch in this lead battle. He's fifth in that queue, jumping in his seat, getting his head down, showing his intention. He wants to get on the move. Chris Alcock is being patient in second place. Running wide is Casey Cook. Here's an opportunity for Venska in fifth. Gets the switchback out of the final corner. That move almost handed to him, and that will be P4. Can he get P3 into turn 2? Not quite. So that's another one down for the German driver. This would be great for them in the Nations Cup if he could join his countryman Andreas Matisse out front and get a 1-2 finish. He would want to be the one leading them home, of course. So up to P4. Casey Cook is next on the list for him, and he's very quickly closing him down. I can see him jumping in his seat out of turn 5 again. He's feeling very good out in the kart. Lots of confidence coming through the kart of Christoph Venska as he makes his way now through turn number 8, fourth in that queue. Alcock looks over his shoulder, maybe a slightly bad exit out of there, leaves him vulnerable to Casey Cook as they come now down the back straight. Here we go, Casey Cook pushing Chris Alcock down the back straight as they head into the final chicane now. We're into the second half of the race, well into it now. We're going to go on to lap number 10. Here we go, is Alcock going to make his first real big attempt at taking the lead of the race? Not able to do so. Door is closed by Matisse. Casey Cook there in third, and then Venska now with a gap to close down in fourth place as they come through turn number 3. Next is Pignataro, then Granvaux, Zastro as well. German driver has just gone fastest through the first sector. He is catching these guys as well, making it 7 for the lead. The German drivers on fire in this race. They are currently 1, 4 and 7. All three of them with a very good chance to finish on the podium in this race. Casey Cook fastest last time around as well, Simon.
And also half a second faster than Chris Alcock in front of him on that previous lap. And this has really brought him in contention for the victory, as he's following Chris Alcock, who himself is following Andreas Matisse, the reigning champion, who has shown so much control today and yesterday. Won both of the T4 Senior 165 heats yesterday, so is a very, very fast driver, very mature. He knows what he's doing. He defends to the inside enough to dissuade any manoeuvres at that crucial point where the drivers would be pulling out to overtake up the inside. Maintains the lead coming through turn number 1. Still no changes, but that is guaranteed to hot up, I would say, within the next 2 laps, as we had momentarily Jan Zastrow continuously setting fastest sector 1s, not able to string together a perfect full lap, but very, very fast in sector 1 is Jan Zastrow, the German racer. So it is Germans in 1st, 4th and 7th, a very strong German contingent in this T4 Senior 165 class, stronger, you might argue, than every other class combined. The Germans have always been showing well in 165s, and this year is no exception, as look at this, a battle for third place. Christoph Venska trying to get past Casey Cook. Phil Pignataro is going to try and get involved up the inside of Venska, who himself is trying to go round the outside of Casey Cook, and it's not going to work out. It is as you were as they come across the line. It is, no, excuse me, Casey Cook has fallen down the order, as has Julien Granvaux. Julien Granvaux fallen down to 7th, and Casey Cook is down to 5th. That means to say that Christoph Venska up to 3rd. It is now a German 1-3, with Chris Alcock, the only Brit in the top, well, in the top 10. In fact, perhaps even in the top 20. In fact, the only Brit in the field at all.
Yeah, of course, Anwar Beryl-Smith is out with the red flag incident, so Chris Alcock flying the flag for them strongly now, and Chris will want to win the race. As I said earlier, good friends with Anwar. He'll want to win the race for both of them now. He was out there for himself, but I'm sure Anwar, if he's in a position to do so, will be cheering him on from the sidelines. Here we go, onto the back straight, lap number 12 now. We're well into the business end of this race, and with that, the snake begins to slither down the back straight. You could see Matisse there just weaving down towards the chicane more and more with every single lap, and Chris Alcock going with him onto the start-finish straight. 2 laps to go in the T4 Nations Cup. Altogether, the Senior 165s will conclude us as Casey Cook running wide through the first corner, and Pignataro will go through to take 3rd place. We pick up our leaders. Matisse ahead of Alcock, Venska in P3. That's Casey Cook down a position, so Venska is 3rd. A look over the shoulder there of Chris Alcock. He is right in behind Matisse as they head down towards turn number 7. Chris Alcock now looking to the outside of Andreas Matisse. Can he get the switchback out of this corner here? Not quite able to do it. He's setting him up, assessing what's going on behind. He's got Venska right in behind him. Any one of these 3, any one of these 5 could win it. Here they come, down towards turn number 9. Is there a gap there, Chris? Not quite. Has to back out of it in the end. But Chris now getting more and more determined to get by. As you can see, the rear wheels lifting up into the chicane there as the speed they carried in. Here we go. Are we side by side across the line? Not quite. Last lap to go of the Nations Cup, and it looks like it's going to be a fantastic lap to end on, Simon.
It certainly is a German 1-3 presently, and Christoph Venska, having started in 12th, finds himself within 2 sectors of a podium as Julien Granvaux sets the fastest lap of 1:06.7, but it is going to be a day late and $1 short for the Frenchman in this race. As look at this, that looks to be Christoph Venska trying to make a move on Alcock there, excuse me, as they come up to turn number 7. There's huge drama appearing. It's 3 wide. This is absolutely exceptional. Casey Cook has somehow snuck in there and managed to start fighting for 3rd position, and has seized 3rd position from Christoph Venska and demotes the German out of a podium place on the final lap.
And Andreas Matisse through turn number 9, being hunted down by Chris Alcock here. Can Alcock do it out the final corner? I'm not too sure he can. Casey Cook over the chicane, but it's going to be back-to-back wins for Andreas Matisse. Chris Alcock there, not quite able to do it, but shakes the hand of Andreas Matisse, and you could see the bit of frustration from Chris Alcock. He wanted to get that win. So close to doing it, but a 2nd is a very good effort, and he lost out only to the reigning champion. Well done, Casey Cook, as well. Got some very good points there for Team USA. Very good points for Team USA. Andreas Matisse taking the win. Once again, he's nailed the formula of Tillotson T4 Racing in this Senior 165 class. Granvaux in 4th, Team Germany, with 3 drivers in the top 6. Jan Zastro up 3 places to 5th. Christoph Venska up 6 into 6th. And Pignataro up to 7th. Rolfing came up to P8 as well, gaining a total of 8 places. But arm in the air for Andreas Matisse. Celebrations for him as he signals he's coming into pit lane as well. What a race. A 10th and a half, just shy of that, between our top 2 in Senior 165. I wouldn't expect anything less, Simon.
So Andreas Matisse becomes only the 2nd man in history to defend his T4 Nations Cup title, only behind Truly Adams, who beat him to it by only a matter of minutes. He finished the race in 1st in front of Chris Alcock in 2nd, and Casey Cook managed to get back up into 3rd position. Julien Granvaux finished in 4th in front of Jan Zastrow, who crossed the line at an equal time to Christoph Venska, who fell down from 3rd place but crossed the line at the exact same time as Jan Zastrow. So joint 5th, one might say, but the telemetry does say Jan Zastrow took that position and scored 5th instead of 6th. Phil Pignataro, with a respectable effort, finished in 7th in front of Asbjorn Rolfing and Esteban Yanguas. Hilangiano finished in 10th in front of Gert Lapskans and Daniel Bowden. with Harris Gladkins and Kyle Lawrence finishing down in 14th. Dirk Prognov finished in 15th in front of his fellow German Stefan Osman, and Bas Peters finished in 17th in front of Anthony Holland. Gian Maria Gabbiani and Juan Pablo Glover rounded out the top 20. Then came Peter McBride, Aaron Doyle, Zachary Balvin and Walter Kessler in front of Manuel Gamez, Fernando Wheeler Sr., Rudolf Toms-Bazin and Seamus Lawler. And then our non-finishers were Edan Enrique Ibarra Castro, Yanni Fokin and Anwar Beryl Smith, who was unfortunately involved in that incident, as well as Alessandro Marchini and Petter Janssen, with Milan Milenkovic unable to take the start.